Hey everyone, Charlie here. So yeah, I thought I'd give a quick overview of my initial thoughts on this paid DLC and what I hope to expect moving forward. For those of you who have not read the patch notes for 1.2, it's a list of around 180 points that include bug fixes, performance improvements, balance changes, and so on. Yeah, 180. That's a significant number. I guess this is one of those patches that was desperately needed. In the previous video I uploaded, I went through the points that excited me the most, so I proceeded to download the 9GB patch and try it out. I was super excited, as you can imagine. I completed the 2 new missions, which by the way are quite stunning and a ton of fun. In other words, what anyone would expect to do under these circumstances. Here's the thing, however. 180 patch notes, and it all came down to 2 new maps and some new achievements, challenges, along with some supposedly new cosmetics. Vermintide 2 officially came out around the, first week of March, I believe. This means that the game has now been out for approximately 6 months. That's half a year. In half a year, Fat Shark have introduced achievements, some of which require an inhuman number of hours to complete, and these achievements reward you with either loot chests or cosmetics. And let's be honest, most of these cosmetics haven't exactly been outstanding. And well, now 2 new maps, as we all know. You can't really count bug fixes, a few weapon tweaks as content. In fact, you could argue that those tweaks and bug fixes are long overdue. I have to admit that after 6 months, I felt fairly underwhelmed enough to not play for a few days, which is why some of you may have noticed that I haven't uploaded anything these past few days. It's that feeling of holding your breath for so long only to be disappointed and somewhat uninspired. Nearing 1,000 hours of time invested into 13 maps for 6 months, I suddenly felt the burnout with this patch. It's interesting because just prior to this beta patch, I felt that excitement to keep going. Then I tried the patch and my mind pretty much just shut down. Perhaps it's because of the fear of what is to come, or better said, what is not to come, at least for a while. If it took Fat Shark 6 months to release 2 new maps and some weapon tweaks and bug fixes, mod support, and only a few mods have been sanctioned and only after several weeks in existence, then does this mean we have to wait another 6 months for the same? How long can we as players hold out? This isn't the type of game that has a mass following for eternity. It's not an MMO that has regular updates and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of players keeping the game alive. Most people will play this game for a while, then move on to something else. Just look at the Steam numbers, they've been dropping quite drastically since the release of the game. If you want your player base to be active in this game, you need to dish out new content on a more regular basis. I'm talking new content on a monthly basis, even every 2 months may not even be enough. I came to think that it's most likely just me, so I decided to do the following. I went to YouTube and searched for videos that have been uploaded within the last week since the release of the beta patch 1.2. Okay, wait a second. This is a major DLC, right? New maps, fixes, tweaks, etc. One would expect a ton of new videos going up on YouTube regarding this new update, at least from the more prominent YouTube content creators. JSat, for example, has uploaded 1 video since the beta patch hit, and that's an almost 3-hour video going over the classes and weapons. It's actually a very informative video, I recommend you check it out if you haven't already. Milk and Cookies has uploaded 2 gameplay videos. That's kind of it though. 3 videos within the last week, 2 of which are gameplay videos. I hope my assessment is completely wrong. Perhaps once the patch officially releases tomorrow, all of that will change, right? I mean, look, am I missing something? Granted, JSat spends more time on Twitch, but 3 videos? To quote a cheesy line, I guess you could say that I felt a disturbance in the force. 6 months, people. 6 months to get some achievements and 2 new maps. No new classes, no new weapons. You'd think that that's the worst part, right? I mean, how much worse can it be? Well, I'll tell you. You've read all of those juicy buffs that the melee weapons received, right? When I read those myself, I thought, awesome, there must be a new melee meta hidden somewhere in there, something amazing and new to discover. A weapon that will make people say crazy things such as dual daggers aren't as good anymore, halberd isn't as good anymore, falchion isn't as good anymore. Now we have this weapon that was previously ignored, but now it shines amongst the rest. Nope. Those weapons are still the best weapons overall. Don't get me wrong, the other melee weapons that were buffed are more feasible now, in comparison to before. However, none of them will really replace the aforementioned weapons. I mean, come on. If you're not going to release a new class and or a new weapon, at least buff 1 or 2 of the original weapons to the point that they are either equally as good as the melee weapons, or perhaps even better. Force us to play with anything but the dual daggers, halberd, falchion, etc. The other weapons may have been buffed, but what's the point in using them when these other meta weapons are far superior? It's the same issue as the bounty hunter crossbow. Why would I play with anything else when the crossbow is just so OP by comparison? I want to play with a repeater pistol. I want to play with a volley crossbow, but why would I? Okay, I admit that I have actually been playing with those weapons. Why? Because they're actually working as intended. Those weapons force you to reset your blessed shots most of the time. The crossbow doesn't. Anyway, I'm veering way off subject here. Let's go back to the patch overview. Look, I get it. Fat Shark is a tiny studio with limited resources. Of course, it's going to take them longer to release updates. I fully comprehend this. My opinion about Vermintide 2 hasn't changed. I strongly believe that Fat Shark have created a masterpiece of a game. I have decades of experience playing video games from 80s Spectrum, Atari ST, Commodore 64, consoles, PCs, FPS games, strategy, MMOs, competitive titles, you name it. I can confidently say without hesitation that Vermintide 2 is a masterpiece. My opinion will never change, I don't care what anybody says. The fact that I've been creating content for this game over the last months is to me a testament of what this game really is to me. If it weren't for Vermintide 2, I never would have started creating YouTube content. And this is why it hurts me so much to make this video. I hesitated at first if whether or not to record this. I believe, however, that it has to be said. I know that Fat Shark won't watch this and they might not even care about my opinion. And that's fine. I have no issues with that. In fact, I'm quite certain that they're very aware of everything I've mentioned up until now. I mean, it's not like they live under a rock and have no clue as to what's happening in the world. They read Reddit posts, forums, etc. What I want to know, forgive me, what everybody really wants to know is what path will Fat Shark take. When the game released, Fat Shark posted their roadmap informing us of what was to come over those next couple of months. It was exciting because we had something to look forward to. Then they took it down when they realized they couldn't keep their deadlines. Since then, we've had little to no indication of what to expect. Let me ask you something. If Fat Shark told us that a month from now there would be new content such as a new class or perhaps a new weapon or two, maybe a map and so on, would you keep investing heavily into this game? What if they said that the same content would be released a few months from now? What would your reaction be? What would your decision be? Who am I kidding? I'm going to continue playing this game heavily. I will continue to upload videos, but I'm just one person, one of thousands of daily players. I'm not going to lie, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I want this game to continue growing. I want the player base to grow. I want Fat Shark to be more transparent. We all know that Vermintide 2 has been a much bigger success than the first game, but that's not an excuse to release less content. On the contrary, it's the ideal excuse to release more content than ever before. Will I buy this DLC? Well, duh. Of course I will. Not because it's an amazing DLC, but because I still believe in Fat Shark and I want to support their vision. Whatever the DLC will cost, it's not a big dent in my wallet. My life won't change because I've spent 10 or 20 bucks more. However, if there are thousands of players out there who believe in Fat Shark and their vision, those 10 or 20 bucks will go a long way. I'm not spending my money on a DLC. I'm spending my money on what may be. Who knows, maybe I'm just rambling because I've been playing this game way too much and my brain has turned to mush. You tell me, am I exaggerating? I can't be the only one who feels this way. Let me know in the comments below what your opinion is on the subject and what would you like to see being handled differently. Again, thank you for watching. Your support means the world to me. Like and subscribe and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye now. You take care.